guys? Gannon here. Today, since I actually kind of got like really busy last week, I had a new roommate moved in and I was helping him kind of move in and get comfortable, and I was hanging out with him because he's like one of my good friends. We were all hanging out with a bunch of my good friends this week, and I decided to just, take a chill pill because I think I worked like 6 out of the 7 days of the week, so I just decided to take a chill. Didn't really need to get to that review too fast, so I'm just going to be doing episode 2 and 3, reviewing it today. And I think before, this is going to be like not the most in-depth and informative review, but I think the first thing I would like to preface this with is that Star Trek Lower Decks is getting absolutely fucked by the community. Whether it's rightfully so, whether it's deserved, this is the first time where I have to just sit here and be like, okay, normally it's just a bunch of Star Trek boomers who don't like the writing or how woke the new Kurtzman Trek is. I fucking adore Star Trek Discovery. I find it extremely entertaining. I feel like it's beautiful. It's beautifully made. There are some canonical issues in fucking Discovery that, you kind of need to put your mind to it if you want to, kind of make them make sense in a way. But I really do enjoy Star Trek Discovery, and I'm fiending for Season 3. And right now, it's been a while since we've gotten any new Star Trek, and the 23 weeks of Trek are here. CBS kind of makes bad decisions, sometimes, because why did they think it was a good idea to start off the 23 weeks of Trek with Lower Decks? If October 23rd or somewhere in October is as soon as we could get Star Trek Discovery, then motherfucker, you guys should have just waited for Star Trek Discovery to come out. Okay, you guys should have. Hopefully it's going to be a good season. It's going to be enjoyable. I literally would have waited for that to come out, because right now, Star Trek Lower Decks is coming out every week, and it's just kind of mediocre, a little bit better than mediocre. And here I am, just damn. I gotta review this. I gotta try to get excited about this when really, what I want is Discovery. But, what I really, really want in my heart is Strange New Worlds. I feel like Strange New Worlds is going to repair and save Kurtzman Trek in the eyes of, all the fans. I don't really rip on Kurtzman Trek as much as the next guy. It does deserve a fair bit of criticism. If they're going to say that all of Kurtzman Trek truly, happens in the main Star Trek timeline, then, there's definitely some things that you could criticize it for. But it just wasn't intelligent for them to start off this 23 weeks of Trek with this fucking cartoon, dude. Because, let me tell you guys, episode 2 came around, and I was actually going to record the review in a timely manner, the day after it came out. But I sat at my computer and recorded the review for it twice. And both times, the audio was fucked up. And it, really pissed me off, because that never happens. And so, here we are a week later. I just decided to smush episode 2 and 3 together, but let's just say that episode 2 was weak as fuck. It was there was a bunch of Star Trek references that kind of, made me a little bit tingly inside, but it wasn't super funny. There are some funny moments. There are a bunch of fucking Chad Lords on the internet that will say, oh, I've watched all 3 episodes and I didn't laugh a single fucking time. It's not incredibly funny. It's a little bit goofy. Gives me some chuckles here and there. It's not making me die. Laughing, of course, but it's not too bad. And I think, I do listen to what other people say, especially people who like to criticize it, because I sometimes it's fun to laugh at. A lot of the criticisms these people make about new Trek, they're fucking garbage, and it's just, old boomer shit. But this is a really good argument. I do watch it because I want to be objective, but this is a good argument. I am only slightly enjoying Star Trek Lower Decks solely because I'm a Star Trek fan. Solely because I love Trek so much that whenever Star Trek comes out in any form, licking my fingers, I'm eating that shit up. I'm a consumer of Star Trek in the purest sense. So when you have this cartoon show that really, it's not super funny or entertaining, but the things that's really keeping me there is the fact that it's a show about Star Trek, and there's a whole bunch of awesome Star Trek references. Well, not super awesome. They're pretty okay. And that's really what's keeping me watching. But you gotta think, what if I wasn't a Star Trek fan and I was just a new viewer? And I was just trying to find, an adult sci-fi comedy? then this show is kind of fucking mid. Like, let's be a little bit honest. And honestly, guys, like, episode 2 was kind of just, it was a letdown. Like, it's making me lose faith a little bit. You know me, guys, I love all Star Trek in every form. The episode 2 was a little bit weak, seeing as how episode 1 was dummy weak, because all the content episode 1, we mostly saw all of it in the trailers. So you had that weak episode, and then the next one coming out is just kind of like, as well. But then we have the third episode, which was actually I will give it a good. I will give it a good and nothing more. They're going to have to do a lot more shit to make me say, like, oh, this is a good, really good episode. Because I'm real, guys. I'm real as fuck. I'm going to be honest with you. Star Trek Lower Decks is at most good to okay. Anyways, that's just me and my little rant I wanted to do. Episode 2 was named Envoys. The story was centered around Mariner and Boimler being envoys to a General Corinne, and Boimler learning the entire time that he's not very competent at being a field officer and thinking on the go and just using his noggin to evaluate spontaneous situations, whereas Mariner definitely excels in that, and she's just like a super jock. And I know that I get the feeling that, like, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Mariner is just like a Mary Sue that comes out of nowhere that's good at everything. But that type of fucking argument doesn't apply to Star Trek when you consider that both men and women in the Star Trek verse are completely equal and can compete with each other on par. Like, starship captains, whether you're a man or a woman, you're still metahuman. So, you know, that fucking argument just flies out the window. I'm not going to criticize Mariner for that at all. You know, there was a couple of funny jokes in it, like when they were talking about the sexual conquest of General Corinne. They go down to Telgana 4, which is a planet that's made up of multiple districts. It's like a cultural district planet. And they're supposed to take General Corinne to an embassy on there to discuss peace accords, but instead, since Mariner and Corinne are like chummy, he takes him down to the Klingon district. He's totally fucking hammered. This dude is lit. He is lit. And he steals the shuttle. Boimler starts freaking out, and they spend the whole day going through these different districts and attempting to find General Korean. The references that I was able to notice, like, there's the obvious, like, Klingon ones that are textbook. You have your Bloodwine, your Gog, your Raktajino. They mentioned the Kittimer Accords. Then they went to the Ryza district, where there was Ryzen culture. There's, you know, a bunch of bad bitches and people just being chill, and they referenced Jamaharan. Okay, so listen, this was like there was 2 things, maybe like 3 things that happened in episode 2 that I really enjoyed at most. My favorite thing probably was when they referenced the Kaylons, because that's a really cool reference, because to my knowledge, the Kaylons have only been really referenced once in all of the Star Trek shows, and it's from that episode where a scientist from Kaylon 2, it's either Kaylon 2 or Kaylon 4, comes up to the Enterprise, and he's doing an experiment that is going to, like, save the sun from going supernova or, like, becoming dead or whatever. And while he's on board, he falls in love with Laxwana Choi, and his name is Timothy, or something along those lines. And they're a race of people who kind of have, like, Trills have dots, but they kind of have, like, you know, sometimes in movies, like, they'll have, like, some substance other than blood going through somebody's veins. It'll be, like, black. They almost have, like, black veins up in their forehead, and they're isolationist people, and they have this suicidal ritual where every member of their population kills themselves at the age of 60 around this huge ceremony called the Resolution. So that was really fucking cool that they referenced that, because that led me to believe that somebody in that fucking writer's room, like, actually watched The Next Generation and picked out, like, a pretty cool reference. They referenced Section 31, which, you know, further kind of realigns with my belief that, like, a lot of people in Starfleet kind of know about Section 31, but only a handful of people actually know of its true existence. They were kind of referring to Section 31 like they were Navy SEALs, so that was a little cool. Andorians were definitely acting very Andorian-like in this episode when they were going to the bar, and then they had the shapeshifter, and I forget its name, but I'm pretty sure it is the same shapeshifter from that hilarious episode of the animated series that kind of just whips fucking Kirk and McCoy and Spock around in the medical bay. Like, the funniest character on the show, probably at this point, is Lieutenant Shax. That dude, kind of hilarious. Like, during the zombie episode, when he just fucking, like, just pushed a door and, like, 1,000 people in front of him like he's a dynamo, just out of the way. I was watching it with my good friend Caleb, and we actually did kind of laugh at that. That was really funny, and he just says hilarious shit. I really like him. I really loved when they used the term smorgasbord to refer to the Borg holo simulation, because that is actually a term that's in my vocabulary, and I just found it hilarious. There was like a very Rick and Morty like bar fight, very Rick and Morty comedy there with the Boimler screen. That was a little bit funny. I've been calling Ensign Rutherford, but it's really Rutherford. So everybody likes Rutherford. He's naturally good at everything because he's a fucking cyborg, except for commanding. They referenced Janeway, the Janeway protocol, and then I was very happy to see a Ferengi acting like super classic Ferengi-like, but even when I first saw him, I was like, doesn't this take place in the timeline after Ferenginar and everything has had like a decent amount of reforms and kind of cultural changes? Because that was the whole climax of the Ferengi story arc in Deep Space Nine. So even when I first saw him, I was a little bit suspicious, like, do Ferengi really act like this? Like, you know, like, are they really doing this shit? I'm sure they are, but I just still was doubtful. Obviously, that Ferengi had another identity as the name of Quint, and Mariner actually knew him and used them as a tool to restore Boimler's confidence. And I think that's all my notes for Episode 2. I don't have any notes for Episode 3, so if you guys think I'm going to be informative about Episode 3, you're dead wrong, because I'm just going to tell you guys, like, how much I liked Episode 3. So Episode 3 was good because we actually had some kind of, like, actually good story arc that concerns, like, all the characters in the whole ship. Do you know what I mean? Because they were talking about the classic Star Trek buffer time. In the original series, Scotty always gives an overestimate to when he could get something done, so he seems like a miracle worker, and it's also brought up in the Next Generation episode Relics. He basically comes out and says this and instructs Geordi LaForge to do this to his advantage. So basically, they'll tell Command that they are doing a task, and they will give an overestimate so that they can complete the task, but also have a little bit of time to goof off. And then Captain Freeman finds out about this from Boimler, of course. Boimler's the tattletale, he's the rat, he's the one who tells Command, and they eliminate buffer time, and everybody's just on a tight shift. And while this is happening, okay, they go down to the planet to do a second contact mission with Commander Ransom and Mariner, and the whole time they have like a back and forth quarrel, and it's kind of entertaining. And the Bolian that they go down with shows, he opens up a case, and it's supposed to be a ceremonial crystal. These people, like, are all about fucking crystals. And let me tell you that the kind of the funnier dialogue in this episode was when they actually did interact with the people. They're like the Galarkians or something, the Galadonians.
Right, Kirk? Is this...
Hate when this happens.
Oh, okay. I just started playing the video. I don't know if my OBS picked on that, but they're like the Galadonians or the Galarkians or something along those lines. Sorry, I'm not going to be super accurate. I'm being a tad bit subjective in this review, just in the interest of I want to have fun reviewing it. But yeah, no, the dialogue that they had with the alien species was incredibly, incredibly funny. Like, you know, it didn't have me dying, like, but, you know, I really found it entertaining. I found it to be, like, some good textbook Rick and Morty humor. When they started fighting over the sword, he's like, you guys do realize you're, like, fighting over who's gonna get cut in half. That guy, Taki's like, and he's like, oh, and if you don't complete this task, your whole crew is going to be destroyed by this, like, subcutaneous crystal or something. And he's like, I'm seeing a lot of blank faces here. Jack Ransom's whole interaction in the arena when he had to fight Vendor, or whatever his name was really funny and enjoyable. Dr. Tana asked Mariner if she wanted to get rid of some of her signature scars. She's like, no, these are my keepsakes, these are my trophies. Like, that's why you look like a fucking scratch post, dude. Dr. Tiana, for real, like, the senior officers are almost pretty much funnier than the main cast, which I think, I don't know if that's by design, if they're, like, supposed to be the comic relief, whereas the main cast, they're supposed to be a little bit more personable. The senior staff are fucking hilarious. Dr. Tiana, Captain Freeman's actually funny, too. Lieutenant Shax is hilarious. I love Dr. Tiana. She's probably going to be my favorite character in the entire series, just because I don't know if I've clearly expressed this, but when I go to make a lot of the Star Trek content that I want to do, and you guys will learn a little bit more about how I feel about Star Trek and how I feel about certain aspects of it, I completely adore doctoring and all the doctors in Star Trek. Like, I fucking adore how there's this whole sub-layer of just, like, you know, like, professional culture where there's always a chief medical officer, and they have very specific ethics and roles and things that they do, and it's just always been fucking interesting to me, and the doctors in Star Trek are always some of my favorite characters. So, love Dr. Tiana. Basically, they go down to the planet, instead of a crystal that's supposed to be used to do, like, a, you know, smooth second contact, because everybody is so tired, they've been working to the bone, they've eliminated buffer time, the Bolian brings a wooden piece that's made for, it's actually supposed to be, it's like Malor and Malok Prime, and it's supposed to be, you know, a peace offering for that other planet, but that other planet so happens to be, like, the enemy of this crystal planet they're on, and it's almost like fucking an insult. It's, like, repulsive to them. It's like a sex symbol, I think they mentioned, which is a little bit goofy. So I think that's all I want to mention about episode 3. I don't want this to be super fucking long, but episode 3 was good. It was good. Episode 2, I'm going to give 3.5 to a 4, to be honest. Like, it was just not good enough. You know, you guys need to have fucking stronger starts. Or you just shouldn't have fucking dropped Lower Decks this early. Should have just gave us the bread and butter of what you guys got right now, which is Star Trek Discovery. You know, not everyone shits on that. A lot of people really fucking like that, including me. Like, literally, you should have just made us wait. Like, what kind of bad PR are you gonna get from making us wait longer for that? Let us get that bread and butter, and then you could come out with this Star Trek cartoon after that, and it will just be like, okay, you know, this is like the appetizer, and then my fucking entree is gonna be Strange New World. I have no fucking clue when that's gonna drop. It's probably gonna be ages with all this pandemic shit going on, but oh my god, am I so horny for Strange New Worlds. Oh my god, my body can't even take it. It's everything that I want. Like, I fucking love Captain Pike, and I kind of like the visuals that come along with New Trek, and if they could get that perfect balance of, like, Pike, the new visuals, but also reverting back to kind of what everybody is truly fucking begging for, which is, like, 90s Trek style, episodic. Like, I want to see, like, Star Trek Enterprise, but, like, a little bit flashier, do you know what I mean? And then I want Anson Mount as Pike, and then, like, literally, just fucking take my money. Just take it, dude. God, that's all we want. That's literally all we want. It was kind of a bad move for them to drop this cartoon this early. That's what I'm going to say. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my kind of ranty review. Episode 2 gets a 3.5 to 4, and then this one gets 5.5. It's not getting a 6. It's getting like a 5 to a 5.5. It was just good, but I expect better. I don't know how many episodes are going to be in this season, like 10 to 12. I don't fucking know. But we're on the 3rd one, and I need something better. One thing I didn't mention, and something that needs to be spoken about, are, like, I should probably just go jump off a bridge, is that Miles O'Brien reference. Okay? That's a joke, but, like, I'm pretty sure it's been mentioned somewhere that this show is, like, canon to the fucking Prime timeline. So, is Chief Miles O'Brien, like, a god in the main Star Trek timeline now? Who knows? I thought the reference was kind of funny, cheeky, and good. And to be honest, I mean, Miles O'Brien is kind of a miracle worker. If it weren't for him, like, the Federation probably would have lost the Dominion War. And, yeah, they probably would have been fucked. So, Chief Miles O'Brien, for all we know, could, like, definitely be, like, top tier. I mean, I think he is. Dude's like a dynamo, can do anything with a fucking, you know, hyper spanner, electronic wrench. Dude's really sick. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to slap a like on the video. If you have anything that you would like to share, please leave it down in the comments below. And with that, guys, I'm going to go make my dinner. Have a good rest of your day. I'm going to have to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.